Thanks very much for joining me. This is big special. It's Nigel, Carr from Louder Than War. Welcome. Thanks very much for joining me. That's
Thank you,
fantastic.
Nigel.
So how's it going, guys? It looks like it's a busy year for you.
It is, man. Yeah, but well, not as busy as the last two. Like we've had a bit
Yeah.
more time off to do some writing and that, and not as such like back to back touring. But yeah, quiet for us is still a bit busy.
You've got a lot of festivals coming up, haven't you?
We have, yeah, we've got a few. We've got a nice
Yeah.
few.
It's
Yeah.
kicking off in like next weekend after that, I think. With
Got a big
Bearded
list of
Theory.
them here.
Yeah.
You're at Bearded
Right.
Theory. What's this? TRSWT, MT.
Oh, Transmit Festival up in
Transmission.
Glasgow.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
Transmit Valley, Boomtown, Beautiful Days, Moseley Folk Festival. That's a lot lined up for the summer, and then you're off to America again.
Yeah, we're sort of being a bit more selective at the minute with like where we're going to tour, when we're going to do it. Like the last few years' approaches has been like, because we've been pushing like the first album, then the second
Yeah,
album. It was festivals on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, jumping on as a support band on a tour for Monday, Tuesday,
yeah,
Wednesday. Thinking about having a day off on Thursday, but actually doing a 15-hour drive and then doing another gig on the Friday. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
been very it's been sort of like constant touring and festivals and touring and then touring. Whereas this year we're like, yeah, we're trying to. We've got this EP coming out,
Yeah.
this record that we've put together, and we want to use this sort of time that it gives us to get back in the studio and keep writing again. So
Yeah.
yeah, loads of UK festivals, but last year we did 9 festivals in Germany, and I think that's enough
Really?
enough for one
Oh,
summer.
yeah, alone.
That is a
That was
lot,
just
isn't it?
Germany. That was just Germany. It
Yeah.
was, yeah. It feels like I feel like our pace is a bit daft. So this year does feel a bit more spaced out nicely. Do you know what I mean?
That is a bit mad.
Does.
And the
Gotta
EP
wash,
comes.
I've got to wash this garlic off my fingers. It stinks.
I love this. We're getting a cooking program at the same time. That's beautiful.
Amazing.
Wash your hands, boys and girls.
Lovely.
Sorry.
Bang on.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So Oh Joy comes out on the 5th of June, and you're calling it an EP, but it's 10 tracks long. And now that's not an EP, that's commitment issues.
This
Why
is
didn't you just call it an album?
this is like the debate of the year currently, because like, yeah, it is an album, but it is a record. It's sort of it's an extended play. The reason, our reasoning in a way is like, we've always been really holy with how we put albums together. Like we write it with purpose. And this has been the first time that we've approached putting a piece of work together like this, which is where
Yeah.
it's been made from songs and parts of songs and chunks that nearly made album one and nearly made album two. So it's like it's been written over the space of like, 10 years. One of the like
Oh, I
Dragged Us to
see.
Hill was written years and years and years ago. So it's weird. It's quite weird to call it an album in our head, but then at the same time, yeah, it's like 38 minutes long or something mental.
Well,
And
I
10
worked
tracks
it out
long.
to about 32, so maybe that's my mistake. But it is
That's not too
definitely
bad.
the
That's
length
I
of.
trust you, Nigel.
Well, I had to be a bit anal and work out how long it was.
No,
But
I'm
it's
But I thought for
extended
another
play.
track,
Yeah.
but I kind of get that because obviously it's not been written as a cohesive piece to go out as an
yeah,
album. So I kind
yeah.
of understand that now.
Yeah, we
It's a
Because
took we, we
reframing.
took all the tunes back to the studio so we could make a cohesive record out of it. It's just that
yeah,
like, the first two albums are very much specific moments in our life, and whereas this
yeah,
is just like that. It's like sometimes you get like a remade movie, like they're making Terminator 4, but it's actually based after Terminator 2, but before Terminator 3.
sequencing
So
and
it's
everything.
like, yeah, so it's like Terminator 2.5. It's like it sits in between the two albums or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
people they scoop together like B-sides and forgotten tracks and they put them out as an album. But
Yeah.
these are not B-sides. This is quality stuff. Because
Thank you,
I've been
man.
listening through it again and again, and there's some
No.
real highlights in there, isn't there? From the heavy drum beats and raps that you've been doing before, right through to almost a Bruce Springsteen track at the end.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wow, this is quality stuff. It's not like it should have been forgotten or should have been hidden on a B-side. Do you know what I mean? It does
Yeah,
feel like a real album.
yeah.
That's
Thank you,
good.
Nigel, man. That,
Yeah,
that's kind of like what we wanted to do. Really, it was not like we like to move on creatively, and we're already like writing new stuff and that, and it's just a bit different and all that sort of stuff. And like we say, we like to write in the moment that we're in. So
Yeah.
we didn't want all these songs to like just gather dust in the cupboard forever, because we would have moved away from them and they wouldn't have been forgotten. So that's why we thought we'd get them back in the studio and just make a fresh record with all these tunes
So
before we
does
leave
this
the album.
represent like a pivot point for you, where you kind of steer away from the sound that you developed on the last two albums? Does it move you in a different direction for album number 3? Is that the
A bit,
intention?
yeah. It's like not so much like a big pivot or anything. I feel like it, including Oh Joy and the first two albums and stuff. It's like each one's got like its own different thing, and I suppose it's just adding other elements or taking elements out or stuff, or just following what we're enjoying at the time. So
I
it's
think
like it's not so much like big conscious efforts to
Mm.
have a new era or like change a thing. It's just moving and growing, and enjoying making music and performing music,
Yeah.
It's the first time we've had like absolutely nothing left as well. Like when we came to album 2, there was still a couple ideas floating around. There's been, and that sort of even if they didn't end up on the second album, it informed where that second album might be going.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, yeah, I think the whole point of this is just to completely empty our pockets. So,
Yeah.
then this year, where, like I mentioned before, we've got like a bit more time off. We've just got a studio lock up for the first time of being a band, and we're just like treating it like a 9 to 5, just down the studio writing tunes, and
Wow.
it's not the
Wow.
first time we've been touring artists for 3 years straight, but this is like the first time I think we've been professional like musicians. Do you know what I mean? Where
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
we get to go and do our job of just trying to write tunes and see what comes, which has been
Yeah.
great.
And is there an intention to change the sound slightly away from the first two albums? Is it going to be softer or harder, less
We
punk,
don't
more electronic?
we don't tend to make plans like that, man. Like we
Yeah.
because we like to let stuff like flow as it goes. We tend to just have like a couple of little bullet points. So like the one thing we're recording in with this is that we're just having some more guitar, intending to have some more guitar on stage,
Yeah.
so writing a bit more. We record guitar on all of our stuff, but this one, like, just recording it a bit more intentionally to like recreate it live rather than for it to be recreated on track.
Yeah.
So that's all we're going with, really. But that does change a lot for us. Then, I tend to sing more
Yeah.
if I'm playing the guitar rather than the speaking and that.
But
But
does that mean that you're going to pull in extra help on stage in order to expand the sound?
we have no idea yet, man. We got,
Yeah.
like I said, we're just getting in the lockup, getting in the office,
Yeah.
just doing bits, like, and we're gonna let it. We've always tried to say that, like, we're fluid with what we're doing.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
never come out the gate to say this is what we're gonna do forever, like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we're just gonna see how that goes as the album comes together, like.
Why do Big Special sound like Big Special? Because people listen to Sleaford Mods. There's Idols. There's a lot of shouty stuff that you pull together with the punk and the drums and the electronics and your poetry, which is like staggering. That it all fits around. Where's it all come from? What defines what Big Special sound is?
I
Um,
think we took a lot of time early on, like working on this. Like on the first album, we mainly didn't because we didn't have the idea of it being live at the forefront of our heads. We wrote it in lockdown,
Yeah.
so we had all this time to sort of explore sound and genre, and knowing that we wanted to go broad with it. Um, yeah, I think we made us realize a lot more that the more personal the songwriting and the more we lent into our honesty and who we are as people within it, the more you end up shining through that. I think the combination of the two of us it's what makes it so individually big special. You have to
yeah,
the singular voice that we put together as two people. It's
yeah,
like
But
a
it hit a
strange
certain
chemistry.
moment, didn't it? In 2024, you suddenly exploded with this sound that sounded like so contemporary, yet you'd been building the ideas for, 10 years, 15 years each, whatever between you. It's like pulling all those ideas together and suddenly you release something that
yeah.
resounds with so many people and sounds right of the moment.
Yeah, man. It was, well, that was it, really. Like, we've just, people talk about authenticity a lot and that, and we really didn't, um, try for it to be anything other than we knew we wanted to have drums and spoken word. Like, we knew that those were like the two things, and the rest was like free form for us to just go mad and like and just enjoy ourselves making it and
Yeah.
enjoy the sounds that we're making. And and then it was what it was, you know what I mean? And then we just spent time um fine tuning it like a bit, we knew we'd use track, so we made all our music in the context of it being played live on track rather than it just like being a recording of a band
So you actually
or
go
just
into
like
the
a straight.
studio and record it live with the drums
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
sounds of the
We record,
studio
yeah,
around
yeah, we
you.
record everything. We usually start off from a point of like jamming, like, just like we're
Wow.
rock band, just like guitar and drums, and we'll record those and get ideas. But we'd
It's
purposely loop like take a cut and stuff and loop it rather than using full takes and that because we wanted the context of it being live. It's like electronic music, like when it's live and it with a singer and a drummer. So
yeah,
we just wanted to like to try and find this like sweet spot in between
yeah,
electronic music and a live rock band
Mm.
yeah.
and see what that was. But like we didn't like really talk about genre much or like we tend not to like. I think it can hold people back a lot if you have in your head too much of what you want it to be. I
Yeah.
think it's better just to have a few bullet points of what you want to explore and then just go for it. Like,
What
Mm.
for you is more important? Is it getting the meaning of your lyrics across, the poetry that
Mm.
you weave through all the songs, or is it the sound itself, or is it a combination of the two?
I think equal parts. Like I think it's
Yeah,
big. Like you're asking like what the sound is. I think it's both. I think it's anything that we're putting down and putting it out is just to add the same sort of care and attention and mean something to us and it's something that we like,
yeah, yeah.
If the lyrics don't mean what we want them to mean, then we won't put it out. If the music don't sound like how we want it to sound, then we won't
Yeah,
put it. And
yeah.
I
that's
think
what
the
we've done with
collision,
Oh Joy, like, we took it all
yeah.
back to the studio so it was what we wanted it to sound like.
The
Yeah,
collision of like the lyrical content with the backdrops we put to it, I think is what a lot of big specials about. Like we always say, if you listen to some of the lyrics, if you were to just read what the songs are about, on a lyrical basis, it could be quite a staggeringly dark album at points. But then through a lot of our stuff, we serve it up with like a tongue in cheekness with the music and the
yeah,
delivery of that. I think that's what helps deliver a message in the lyrics more effectively is the fact that the backdrop that we deliver it in, the world that we've managed to sort of put together.
it
Yeah,
totally
yeah, that's
does.
bang on, man. And again, it's another one of them things that's like a line in between stuff, It's like it exists then as something that you can sit and dive into, or it can just be like a banger that you put on and have fun to as well.
Yeah,
And that's what we're trying to look like for our live set to be as well. Just the combination of all the things that that move you, you know what I mean, or move us.
yeah, yeah. It sounds very British without sort of being nostalgic or retro indie. It has its own place, but it
Hmm.
sounds very, very British. And what I like about it, and I've always liked about Big Special because I've obviously went back to your first single and bought that, thought it was amazing, is just the massive hooks that you get in there. Who's responsible for that? Because if there's any part of Big Special that resounds with people, and certainly in a live environment, it's you shouting shithouse and they all joining in. And you've
Yeah.
got these huge hooks weaving their way through, through the albums and
Well,
actually
we
on
just
Oh Joy as well. It's huge, isn't it? Who's
we're just
responsible for that?
musical. Well, we're both man. We're just musical
Yeah.
geezers. We can't help it. And but man, we're fucking we're music nerds before anything else, and
Yeah.
all the things that we can list out that we like about making music and stuff. Um, you gotta love a melody and a hook, otherwise, we'd write a fucking book or something. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta,
100%. Yeah.
it's for the love of the craft, is it? That's just enjoying it. But again, it,
Yeah.
it often just comes out as it is. Like, I think the best thing to maintain is that we enjoy making and performing music together, and the rest rolls with it. Like we have so many worries with like maintaining this now, and keeping it going and stuff, and it's our living now and all that sort of stuff. But we both say like we never worry about getting in the room and like making some music. Like that's the thing. We do that anyway, and we've done it
Yeah.
forever. And so you know, I think it's more important just to maintain the love of it, like the love of the craft.
You've
And
got to do it for your own enjoyment. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep doing it, right?
well,
It
otherwise
has
you might
to
as well have
stay.
not fucking tried for 16 years and got a
Yeah.
job at the fucking anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do, isn't it? Really.
Were you surprised how quickly it happened for you? You were signed by SO Recordings quite quickly, public service broadcastings, placebo, broadcasting,
It was a bit of
placebo,
both, wasn't it,
big
Carl?
bands. You know, you just went boom.
The fact that we'd been at it for like 16 years up to that point in different bands, I think the speed at which Big Special just exploded for us was it was shocking from, I think it's shocking from all perspectives. You know, we've had a mad pace, but
It was
then
the plan.
yeah, that's it. It was always the end goal was to like live off this and
course.
make it work. But the
Yeah.
fact, you know, I think we both had like very little. I don't think I'm out alone saying I think it was a bit of a last ditch attempt for both of us as a like this is the, you know, we're coming up on 30. We've been doing this since we were teenagers. It's hard to sort of, you know, we had years and years of doing it where one good gig is enough motivation to carry you on as a musician for another 6 months. One or two bad gigs, you're right on the edge of fuck this. What am I doing with my life? You know, it gets harder as you were getting older, and
Well, presumably you got to work at the same time to fund it.
that's it. You know, and being able to like, oh shit, someone actually believes in this as much as we believe in this with our manager and so and our label and people who got involved in it actually felt like they really gave it, that there was no reason for them to get involved with us except for the fact that they loved it. We didn't have a following, we didn't have loads of fans, we didn't have anything. And you know, the fact that all these great benefits that we've had from being, you know, with our booking agent and our manager and our label, it's all of it's come from no business sense, just pure love of what Big Special's doing, you know, and I
Well,
think
there
that
was
was
somebody, and a
shot.
lot of young bands would be really interested in hearing this because there's a lot of bands out there trying and then breaking up and then reforming themselves in a different way. There was a point where somebody said, I want to sign you because. And so, what was that? What inspiration can you give to young bands who are at that point of maybe giving up or, you know, like you've been through all that shit?
It's hard, man. We talk about this a lot. Like, you know, we went and did a talk at our old college and that where we met
Oh, that's
doing
nice. Yeah.
BTEC and stuff. And we said we were worried like when we went because we were like, we don't want to like discourage anyone because there's no real like inspiring advice other than like what we've already spoke about, which is like you've got to love doing it.
Yeah.
You got to want to be good at that. You got to respect the art and the craft and want to be good at that for the sake of being good at it because you like it.
Do you
And then
think it's about
that's what keeps you going.
authenticity? Is it about
Well, yeah, but I think
authenticity?
people have asked that as well. People ask us
Yeah.
how to be authentic, and I think like that's a question. If you got to ask that question, and you're not being authentic, like you just got to you got to find what it is that you like, and just
Yeah.
do that, and just try and do that. And that's the only thing that worked for us. So like was just going on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and then you know taking the hits, getting back up, and then you got to have a bit of luck as well. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's
Absolutely.
that's the important factor because like it's such a cheesy thing that you know luck is where preparation meets you know timing or whatever. But
Mm.
if you know we were grafting at it forever and putting out our own songs completely DIY, and it was pure luck that the geezer who came into our realm and changed our lives in you know the guy who signed us. You know, he heard it by coincidence. It was a mate of ours was doing it while he was working on his house, and
Mm.
from that point, that was the dynamic shift in like an industry backing behind it. Some
Was that your
people who
manager or
actually
was
helped
that
us.
the label itself, the SO
The
guys?
That was our
label,
label. The manager, Joe, used to serve in our local.
yeah,
And it's like as much as all these lucky moments have happened, they've
Yeah.
been in a sea of very unlucky musical moments. And,
Mm.
Bet they have. Yeah.
but the main thing is they've happened while we've been grafting like a motherfucker at it. You know,
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
putting our own songs out. You know, we were doing our own thing, and they found us. They found us by luck, but you know, we were still having to put the hard work in for it. And the amount of times we nearly quit, if one more time I quit and we'd have never had any of this, you know, it's you
Yeah.
Yeah.
just keep it on doing it for loving it, you know.
Yeah, man. And
I
it's
think we
got
both resided it. It's probably not going to be a career, but I'd feel like an absolute bell end if we just didn't give this thing that we believed in one more try, you know, and keep pushing what we want to do. And you know, I think both of us knew that the worst case scenario is that we carry on how we are and we're writing tunes that we absolutely love, and that's sort of the bottom line, wasn't it?
That's
You
the
know,
way, isn't
the
it?
yeah,
the art's the point of it, all the extra being able to survive off it, and all these great things in our lives that we're you know really grateful for. that's sort of the side product. You know,
Proper.
yeah,
And we've made
the love
really
of
good
it being
friendships
here.
with the people we work with and that, and the people who
Mm.
believe in us and stuff.
That's great.
We've worked on them relationships and stuff as well, and so it's like we're all a team and that. But it's really there is more to it than it's like than it's just business, like you know,
Yeah.
and other bands that we've met along the way and artists that we've become friends with and stuff. And it's they're all the really good things. I'd say if there was one bit of advice I'd say which helped us out loads is that like because we got found off that one tune, but we worked a long time on it before we try even put a foot forward.
Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff now is like make a verse and then show us everyone your verse while you're still working on the tune and blah blah blah. Whereas we had like 20 songs in the bank before we stepped out the door. So then
And you need that because as soon as you got signed, you had to move. You had
we
to
was
get it
there, but
down.
we had an album in our back pocket, like
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and we had a set in our back pocket. So as soon as it was a light was put on us, we were able to like hit the ground running.
Some
Yeah.
bands, they change direction. They keep trying one way, they try another way, and they
Yeah.
change the style even of the music that they're creating, you know? And
Mhm.
at any point, did you think, well, I'm just going to give up with the rapping, I'm just going to sing because you've got a beautiful voice? you
Well,
know?
I sang for 15 years before I even did the spoken word
Right,
stuff. I always
right.
wanted to do spoken word stuff, and I always wrote that sort of stuff.
So it's
But
the other way around, I'm thinking.
yeah, yeah. So I
Yeah, yeah.
never had the confidence to like pursue that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
it was with the change we made by working on this new idea of a big special that it was like just gonna like pretend I'm confident and I'm just gonna fucking do it like and we'll and and yeah and we just chipped away, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all we did. We just got out as much as we could then and found our sense of self in what we were doing and we had this big realization then that all the music we'd done for 16 years beforehand with together and apart were like were stepping stones to this place now where we had a fresh start and a new confidence to do like the music that was actually like felt like the most us.
I
Yeah.
think that's it as well. That the fact that the whole squad from the off was a bunch of novices. Like
Mm.
we no one thought that we were experts at what they were doing. Like I'd never ran electronics on a drum kit before. Never used track player live. You'd never read poetry in front of people. Our manager had never managed the band, and our producer was mainly producing like Americana stuff. He'd never done anything in the punk realm or anything. So
Wow.
we all had to step outside of a box and find the new confidence in what we were doing, you know.
You're all
So
learning together, which is the
yeah,
most important thing. And that's
Yeah,
where
yeah.
creativity can really spark, can't it?
Definitely, man. Yeah, because I don't think we even knew that we were at the time. It was
yeah,
like we were just cracking on with the thing that we were enjoying.
Yeah.
And it's all like in hindsight that you realise what you've learned, like and how you got there and that. But
Yeah.
it was really like, yeah, I feel like we were both a bit desperate in our lives and in our identities and stuff, and then we had this idea and we went with it, and then other people did as well, and we all got this nice relationship together now where we're like trying to push this thing, and you know when. We get to pay people now and stuff as well. Like, you know, we live off
It's
it and
amazing, isn't
other
it?
people
Yeah.
at work, and it's just fucking yeah, it's crazy, man. You know,
Yeah.
all we ever wanted was a living, like doing the thing that we do,
Yeah.
and 99% of people never get to do what they do and make a living out of it. You know,
No.
whatever it
And
is.
that
So
goes back to what I was saying before about the bands that surround you that are trying the best to try and make a career of it. But
mhm.
you know that 99% and more will fail and just
Yeah, of
get
course, man.
nowhere. Yeah.
Course.
yeah,
It's tragic,
And a
really.
lot of people still got the graft in them as well. Like you know, it's so hard to do, but it's like it really is a thing. Like anything that's good in life, like it's hard work. Like so, you gotta do it, and you've also got to cross your fingers a bit as well. You
It's a
know.
business, isn't it? And this
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people don't get that. They think
Hmm.
they can just play around with some instruments, but it's actually a business. Yeah,
Yeah,
booking the
eventually.
venues, making money,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
making
mean,
the
it takes a
fucking
while to make money. Again, it's just so hard,
yeah,
man. It's so hard, especially when you're working class and stuff as well. Like
yeah,
for people and different backgrounds at the
yeah.
front, is that
Um,
like if you ain't got no one footing the bill, like
no,
you're fucked, man. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that.
And it was like with you know, but a lot of people talk about doing stuff independently and that, and I have like so much respect for people who do that and manage to do that, but it was just weren't on the cards for us. Like that
Yeah,
was it wasn't an option. Like we were in different parts of the country and all that sort of stuff, like you know,
it's a hell of a slog doing it that way, isn't it?
yeah, we needed that cash injection to be like, right,
Yeah,
you can do this now, and that was like the
yeah,
first thing we said with that label was like, if you want us, you got to like pay us in a way, so
yeah.
we ain't got to go to work, so we can do this full time.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, we're lucky to have people believe in us enough to do that.
yeah. Fantastic. What were the records or the artists that really inspired you when you were growing up, and which ones would probably ruin your credibility if people found out about them?
I think my credibility one's Red Hot Chili Peppers, and we talk about it all the time because they
There's
get
nothing wrong with the Chili Peppers.
yeah, I
But
agree, man. They get a bad rap. I ain't
yeah,
like whatever, just talking about music, like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah. I love Chili's, man, and the early rock blues stuff like Hendrix and Free, Paul Rogers and Paul Cox.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then got into like the folky stuff like early Bob Dylan and then got into Tom
Well, there's
Waits and
kind of blues in what
uh,
you do, isn't there? I mean, you talked about Free and Paul Rogers and possibly
mm,
Cream. I don't know if you're into them as well.
Cream, yeah. And
But,
that all sent me back to the Delta stuff then, like the early
yeah,
Delta stuff, and
there's
then like
big
that was
bluesy
pretty cool.
moments and
Mm,
gospel and even folk running through some of your stuff. So
yeah,
it must have been dragged in from somewhere.
Defo man,
Absolutely.
yeah, 100%. We just both love music and we've shared music together and
Mm.
different things. We've always showed each other, uh, you know, like I remember showing Carl like old folky stuff and he showed me like punky stuff and that which I never listened to and everything.
Sort of
And
Yeah.
had a crossover of our two like interests, and I think there's always been like a bit of an electronic scene in Birmingham, and I'm a massive Streets fan, and I think there's like
Yeah.
a
I was going to mention
we've
Mike
all brought
Skinner.
our
Yeah.
stuff to the tables. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I think
Yeah.
we sort of all brought our influences to the table, and it sort of ended up being this
yeah.
thing.
It
Yeah,
got
but
quite ironic though with the Mike Skinner thing, innit? Because Carl's massive Mike Skinner fan. I never
Right.
listened to him until we started Big Special when
Yeah.
he showed me his first album and that. But yeah,
Yeah.
because we used to get
Well,
that
he
like a
went
lot
through a really
from his
interesting
speaker.
phase because he was talking from the streets on the first album. And then by the third album, he was telling everybody how rich he was and he was swanning around in cars and
yeah,
stuff. It got
Yeah.
more difficult to write, I think, as he progressed from, I guess, the streets and upwards.
I think it's that typical hip hop progression, especially like of the time and stuff as well. And I think
Yeah.
I think there's a place for that when you do come from nothing. I don't know what Mike's gonna come from or anything, but
No, I don't.
like like with the hip hop stuff, when people come from nothing, they go, "No, I got this." It's like there's that, but yeah, I think when like Drake does it, where he always had money, then it's like just leaves like
cool.
it's like, well, yeah, you're never struggling, so like you can't really show off. But
Were you more influenced by the bands that you grew up with, or the environment that you grew up in? Because obviously you talk
I
about
think
being
that's,
working class and the
yeah.
poverty and what you saw around you. Obviously, that's a big influence in your lyrics and about
Yeah. Well, I
you
always
know talk.
grew up labouring and that, and like labourers in the family and stuff, and all that sort of thing. And I never really listened to much modern music at the time, and like I loved work music, like I loved folk music and stuff, and I loved songs that were like reminding me about my environment, which was often not the music of the time or the music of the area, and that like it's why I
Yeah,
didn't know Mike Skinner and stuff. But
Mm.
so I always loved like work tunes and that old folky stuff. I always felt like the local area and that growing up like weren't very aware of like art
yeah,
and like and cultural stuff like that, and especially and not especially but stuff like from the area and the history of it and that. So I tend to get a lot of that. Well, I tended to get a lot of that inspiration from like old American stuff really,
right, right.
and just how that like I must have subconsciously found a thread in in like what I had around me or whatever that I liked. Like yeah,
You
because
said you were working as a labourer. Clearly, that's like informing you of what's going on around you and everything else. I mean, that's about as working class as you can get, isn't it?
well, you can. I think you subconsciously when you're getting in, you don't know what you're going to get into, and you subconsciously recognize the thing. Like Carl says to me about Street's first album, and that he said to me before, like when he had that at the time, he was like, "It's like you wrote that about me."
Mm.
Like didn't you? And stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just what people get. But yeah, I just loved that shit at the time. And I think there was something I loved about like how one person could have like one instrument and just be fucking
Just a
and get it
beat.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in
Yeah.
different environments and where you can't really like get it out and stuff like that. Whereas all this like all that old Delta Blues stuff and that was everyone just sitting around having a moan. And
I think you end up trying to replicate the art that you most connect with, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Like
mm,
when you try to, as a kid, when you try and learning music and you're learning guitar, and you're seeing the people around you that you're influenced by, even without realizing it. That's the trying to learn Jimi Hendrix on guitar, trying to learn Bob Dylan and stuff.
mm,
Um, there's a the reason you're connecting to them, you're not realizing it's because they're a reflection of your life, and 99% of the time they're usually singing from your same perspective, and the things that you relate to.
Yeah.
But that's what gets you into the instrument maybe initially. And like I wanted to play Sex Pistols, I wanted to play Ozzy Osbourne, I wanted to play Black Sabbath and stuff when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's sort of that like chicken and egg situation in a way. It's like you might not have known it, but you were connecting to that because it's the reflection of yourself.
Yeah.
And then in trying to replicate it, you end up finding your own voice, and that's in itself just another echo of that same messaging, that
Well,
same
you're building on
background,
some really great foundations there. You talked about Paul Rodgers and Free and Jimi Hendrix and, Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath, obviously, the Birmingham connection. I mean, you're building on some great foundations by surrounding yourself with those sounds when you're kids. It must,
Yeah.
yeah,
And that's just a fraction, man. Like I said, we music nerds above anything else. Like,
yeah.
we had loads of greatest hits compilation, like, soul music,
Mm.
anything. We had like, Michael Jackson's greatest hits,
But you
ABBA's
can hear
greatest
that in
hits,
there as
Queen's
well.
greatest hits, all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and then like and even hip hop and stuff, and that has got a bit older and stuff, and went outwards, explored even more, got into Sleaford Mods.
Tons of
Uh,
Irish trad in there, and we
yeah,
listen to everything, man. We just try and stay. We try and stay up. I think we do tend to, without realizing it, tend to lean towards very storytelling, lyric heavy, perspective giving
yeah,
music. I
yeah.
think it's like every single one in that list. I was like, yeah, these are all. There is a common theme in here, actually.
Yeah,
So,
when we're together, there's nothing we listen to more than Irish folk music, like
yeah.
traditional
I get
music.
it.
Like that's if we're together,
I
like
get it.
that's what we've usually got on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I noticed that running through some of the tracks as well. And also Plan B. I was thinking Plan B on some of those big soul choruses, especially on The Good Life with Sleaford Mods. That's a
oh yeah.
beautiful chorus.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
thank you, man. Thank you
The
very much.
Phantom, that is
Mm.
really, really nice. A lovely touch. And how did that work? Were you asked to write that little chorus there, or did
No,
Jason
no,
write it
no.
for you?
That was Jason's. He was already working on it, and he wasn't liking how his vocal sounded for the chorus, and that, and he asked us
Yeah.
to come in and do it. And we did a verse as well on it originally, but that got cut, and then Gwendolyn went on and did a
She's
wonderful
she's
verse.
she's feisty in that video, isn't she? That
Yeah.
video is amazing, isn't it?
Great
Oh
fun.
Just
yeah.
a big one take thing, isn't it, around the studio?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so cool being around her. She's like just an icon, isn't she? And
Isn't
Yeah.
she?
Brilliant.
Yeah, yeah,
proper,
absolutely
proper,
fantastic.
proper professional. Yeah, it was great
Yeah,
fun that, and yeah, that was a weird one because we toured with Sleaford Mods, and they were like we've been huge fans forever, and then yeah, they've got a lock up in Nottingham, so we went down and we like it's just a surreal fucking moment, just like writing a tune with people who we've looked up to
yeah.
for years, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Don't you
Crazy.
think it's amazing how they keep being relevant? They
yeah,
don't go away, do they? And that new track, that was just like something else. Well, the
Yeah.
whole album was just great.
yeah,
I
They
think
haven't
they're a band
lost
that
their.
just write what's on the mind, like whenever it is, like it's them in that moment in time. So I think you
Yeah,
can't really go wrong if you're doing that. Someone's gonna resonate with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You did that track with John Grant. Now I love
Mm.
John Grant, and how the hell did you manage to pull that one off? I mean, how did that connection come about? Because he's like, he writes about his own struggles and always has done, and there
Mhm.
is that sort of connection there. But musically, you're quite far apart.
mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we toured with him again and again. It's like it's what connects different types of music, and you know what I mean? Is it the sound? Is it the heart, or like stuff like
Yeah.
that? And we got a gig supporting his side project, Creep Show,
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
so
that
yeah,
was
so
it.
we
Yeah,
connected
yeah,
through that really, and him and his manager like become like fans of our music and that, and we went on tour with him. And then yeah, basically we had the song, which another version of it is on Oh Joy now, which was like an older version of it. But we basically said like, do you wanna like do a version of this with us, like take it back to the drawing board a
I
bit? And
noticed the melody was the same. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's just like an older rockier version of that song that we had, and yeah, we just kind of like remade it together.
I mean, what an
Uh,
amazing connection. I mean,
yeah,
he's
it's
just
wicked
an
man, yeah. And we get
amazing guy,
yeah,
isn't
he's a great guy, and we had a really good time with him on the road, and
he? Yeah.
and yeah, it's a really nice
even
connection to have.
even though the musical, there's like a difference there. Obviously, I think he's similar to a lot of people we look up to, where his identity as a songwriter is the main center point of whatever he does. He has such a broad scope of releases and sounds, but it's also obviously John Grant whenever you hear him, you know, same like
Yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Waits and, you know, Kate Bush,
It
etc.
did change quite a bit between his first and second album. He put a big slab of electronica. I think
Mhm.
it was like, was it the Prince of Denmark or the follow up? But yeah, it's changed quite significantly over the years, hasn't it? This style of music, he's very
Yeah,
much into
you go into his
experimentation.
yeah, and I think that like as he's built that and like some of his later albums and stuff, there are these big broad things there where you'll have some mad experimental like synth
That's
like
right. Yeah,
palette, or you'll have like a piano ballad,
yeah,
and like Carl said, you can tell it's John Grant every time,
yeah,
and that's the kind of artist where you aspire to be. You know, is just has like a central spirit to what they do that you can recognize if you're
the
doing a piano
authenticity's there,
ballad or
isn't there?
like a
With him,
big rock
he
thing
ain't
or
bullshitting. He's telling it like it is. He's
yeah,
totally
exactly, man.
authentic.
That's the
Yeah,
main thing I think with anything like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
that's what comes through. Yeah.
Do
Yeah,
you think
definitely.
that the people that come to see your shows really grasp the meaning of what you're singing about? Or do you think there's a large element that just like get caught up with the choruses, the big hooks?
I don't know, man. We hear from a lot of people, and we hear some lovely stuff about how it's resonated with them,
Yeah,
and
Mm,
some of the time it's what we meant, some of the times it's what they thought it meant, and I
yeah,
think I think there's no wrong way of enjoying it. You know,
yeah,
it is what it is to you. Like it is what it is to us, and then
yeah,
we put it out. So then like it is what it is to you.
mm,
And we hope there's enough in there for it to come across that like we wear our arts and morals on our sleeves in there and stuff, and people, hopefully people know where we stand and where we're coming from.
yeah, yeah. Do you
Beyond
think there's
that,
a
like
place
whatever.
for? I remember buying the original Carr to USM Unstoppable Section Machine albums, 1990, the Love album, whatever. And Jim Bob used to print all the lyrics so you could open them up and read along. Have you ever
Mhm.
thought about, well, actually, I could get my message across better if people could actually read along with it, or at least know
Yeah,
what I'm shouting about, you know?
yeah, yeah. We print our lyrics in. I think the first run of the first album didn't actually have a lyrical insert, but that was
Yeah,
just a timing thing rather than any sort of like decision. And but yeah, we print our lyrics with our stuff, and they're online as well. And
yeah,
because I loved reading along to lyric booklets and stuff in CDs and everything as well.
yeah.
But I also remember hearing an anecdote. I think it was from Texas or something. I forgot her name.
Charlene
But
Spiteri. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and she said something like how she never prints the lyrics because you get the you get them nice moments when you hear music and you think you know what you've heard and that and stuff, and you let it be what it is.
that's
But I kind of like that middle ground where it's like it's there if you're interested, but if you get what you get from it, then that's sound as well. And I'm sure there's a million songs where me and Cal like think we know what it's about or something, but actually it's just what it is it's about to us, and
yeah,
and that's the point. I forget there's a loads of quotes out there. I forget what they are now or who they're from, but they say like once you put something out, it's not yours anymore.
mm,
It'll always be what it is to us, but like
yeah,
I think that's one of the wonderful things about being a fan of any sort of art form, like is it helps contextualize you being human. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
listening to other people like with a different perspective, or different people with the same perspective and all that, and it is what it is.
But I
And
get the fact that, if you don't print the lyrics or there's nothing to sing along to, it does get people going back and listening again and again and just
mm,
getting from it what they can hear in there. Then it starts to resonate. I remember reading about Ian Curtis and how the band didn't really know what he was singing until after he died. And suddenly they knew what Love Will Tear Us Apart was all about. They knew
yeah,
what Disorder was all about, and there's a lot of that, isn't there? That you can go back and just re-experience it in a different way.
yeah, absolutely, man. I love that stuff, and I think we got pretty dense stuff as well. There's always something in there to like find or something like that, which I hope. But we look di different to Joy Division, like, but we talk about what our songs are about and that, like, and
Yeah,
stuff. We're
yeah,
both
yeah, yeah,
we're both in the same like headspace and that of like
yeah,
for when we're performing them and what they mean and like for stuff like this as well.
yeah.
mm,
No, no,
Chatting
no.
about it.
At what point does writing about the struggle, personal experiences, the working class upbringing, billionaires, etc., at what point does that become a memory rather than something that you're living through? Because you've
Yeah,
reached a point where, we talked about the Mike Skinner thing. You reach a point where it's not relevant to you anymore, almost.
mm,
yeah, man. We will always like, and we always say we'll write from right from the moment that we're in, and
Yeah,
with all those angles of where we're from, where we're going, where we're at, and always be respectful and stuff, because that shit used to drive us mad. Like when you hear a lot of people singing about like they're from something that they're not or whatever,
yeah,
whilst
ingenuous. I
whilst
get you.
people who are from that don't get to reach that sort of
Yeah,
space. Um,
Honesty and perspective, it's the most important. Like, what massive influence, and I'm a big fan of is Baxter Jury.
yeah, it's great,
Never,
isn't it? Yeah,
but he's so openly singing about. I grew up with a working class icon of a father. People expect something out of me, and I'm what the fuck is my life? It's
yeah,
like a very he's singing about such a fucking narrow sphere of experience. Like, if
100%.
you just read that on base value, how can anyone else relate to like growing up with a famous dad and not being from the same background and all this confusion? But the it's up to the listener to sort of find their own connection within his music.
yeah, and
It's up
it
to
doesn't
him
mean
to be
it's not
honest about
relatable.
it's up
No,
to him to be honest about his perspective, isn't it?
no, totally right, totally
But
right.
we used to speak about it, well, like you just said then, and like it's like, how do you relate to having like a rock star dad? But anyone can relate with having troubles with the dad.
Mm,
Do you know what I mean?
100%.
So it's like
exactly.
it's like the boiled down meaning of the meaning.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
So there's this song called the Lag Song, which is an old Irish tune, and we love this version by a guy called John Francis Flynn, who's brilliant.
yeah,
And we used to talk about that song when people would ask something similar, because we'd say it's a song about being in prison, but we've never been in prison, but we've felt trapped. And it's like, and it's just that's we would say as well, like songs aren't pamphlets. It's about the layers of stuff. It's about
yeah,
how you subconsciously relate to something or just feel something from something else. I think the word relatability became really like um 2D, like when people started talking about it a lot, like with music, and that's just like, well, it's relatable just mean that we've all done it,
yeah.
or like or we must know exactly what it is, which is not the case, and it never has been the case with any
No,
sort of art form ever,
no.
because people grew up, the first stories are about monsters and dragons and shit like that, but no one ever fucking saw one.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it's about the fear of something, or like, you know
I
what I
was
mean?
going to say that it's the fear, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
exactly.
relatable, so
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
actually share that experience
The
across from
layers
the
that are
different.
relatable, not the actual thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was watching, and we talked about John Robb before. I watched an interview with Jason
Yeah.
from Sleaford Mods, and he was talking about he got dissed for something for punching down, and that's why the good life was like, I'm not punching down, mate. I'm not punching down. Do you
Mm.
think that he's in this situation where he's always got to punch up because that's what's expected of him? It kind of goes back to what we were
Yeah.
talking about before about the working class thing. Is he always got to punch up, or does he get to a point where that's not possible anymore?
I think he's just got to do what's in his head. Do you know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
there's no, yeah, yeah, and I think like it's whatever. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's really debatable, that is, but he does come from where he says he comes from.
100%.
So
Yeah,
it's like so there's that there's always that there.
yeah,
That's in his
I love
history, and that's
his
part of who he is.
he's very open and honest about that whole part of his character as well. Like the tune that we did with him, he said it's about him coming to terms with him lashing out at people around him now that he is like a famous musician, and the jealousy that he gets off other bands, and what he sees in himself, and all this other, it's again, it's like just an honest perspective, even if it can sometimes be a bit destructive and explosive around him.
it can be.
He's
And I've spoken to one or two sort of bands who've really, really struggled, and individuals that just don't like him
mm,
Mm.
because of
yeah.
that. This sort of lashing out
He's
type thing.
he's been he's been making up with a lot of people though. I think he's can't he said once he's calming down a bit, but it's
A lot of
Jason's just
people are
been there.
threatened by authenticity as well when they're worried about their own, and and so it can come across in a lot of different ways.
Mm,
Uh, but I think like again, like with the internet and like how things have moved on, like socially and stuff as well. Everyone thinks that everything is a statement of intent, or like if
mm,
I'm putting out a song, this is what I believe and stand by, or like whatever in its meaning, where it's not. Art is an emotional reaction, and you don't have to stand
Yeah. No.
with the meaning of it forever. This is how I felt then.
Yeah.
And this, or more so, actually, this is how I feel now in the moment
Yeah.
of making it. Like,
If that's what you're doing, but I'd go back to like the Beatles, who came from a very working class background in Liverpool, and they sang about love. They didn't talk about the docks and the deprivation
yeah.
and everything
That
that
one,
they
it's
struggled,
generational, isn't it? It's
isn't
like
it?
maybe their parents heard loads of old tunes and stuff that were about that,
Yeah,
and then the
yeah,
kids go,
yeah.
fuck that, like I want to talk about girls and drinking and stuff like that. And then
Are
it
we going
comes,
to
and then it
find
comes, and
a?
everyone gets bored of that, and then they go, actually,
Yeah,
we're having a shit time here, and it ain't all about birds and drinking, and I want to talk about all this. And then I'd say like our kids and that. They'll be fucking bored to death of political punk music, man. They'll want to fucking listen to a
yeah.
word. They'll want to
They'll be
see
going love, love,
Golden
love.
Hands.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And we, it's your time, and we all
Yeah,
go through the different times, and
you
like
could change direction a little bit and
well,
start
we might have a
writing
love
love
album, man.
songs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, man. If that's what we're going through, you know what I mean? If
Yeah,
that's what we're going
yeah,
through,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and that can relate to your whole space that you're in politically, mentally,
yeah,
romantically, like whatever, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
just as long as you just fucking mean it
yeah,
to some extent or meant it when you was
yeah,
being married.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
then you're all right. Like, and I love Sleaford Mods and yeah, I get it. Like, but I think it's coming from a genuine place, and that's all you
No,
can ask for, really.
I totally. I mean, I've interviewed
Yeah.
Jason myself, and I know it is. So,
It's
yeah,
great.
he's a legend as far as I'm concerned.
Mhm.
Your music's we've spoken about being rooted in modern Britain, and you did this tour in December, and you're going on quite an extensive American tour this time round, to quite decent sized venues as well. How do the Americans get it? We talked about it having folk in there, blues in there,
Mm.
but the bottom line is it's a very British sound.
I think it comes back to everything we just spoke about, man, in the sense that
Mm,
it's like the relatability is universal. Like when you boil
yeah,
it down to feeling lost, confused, or in a struggle or like whatever, is that translates. We played it in Mexico and people like it, and we don't even speak the
really.
same language. Yeah,
You were
Yeah, yeah.
fortunate. You were supporting. Was it public service broadcasting? So you got to quite
in
decent
America.
Last
sized
American tour.
venues.
Yeah,
We,
Yeah.
yeah.
we, we were with Placebo in Mexico.
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah.
It's good. We sort of get this weird example of like how wrong we were thinking that it wouldn't export into places of different languages. Like we've done it
Yeah.
in India and Thailand, and it's this. I think the emotions universal is like a real obvious sort of answer to it as well. As when you're seeing two people having a cathartic experience, like a performance, even if you don't quite get, if you don't understand the lyricism, the uh the emotion's still there. But in specifically the Americans, I think there's like a funny sort of push and pull of American and British culture where, when we were growing up, um I remember my old man always accusing everyone that, oh, it's all everyone copying the Americans over here and stuff now. Whereas like I think there's they're screaming out for British liberal punk music at the minute because like
Yeah.
they're going through a lot over there,
Not
and
kidding.
they like hearing like a left wing perspective, a liberal perspective of people go, well, fucking hell, yeah, it's shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I don't know, it's funny how well it translates over there. The reason we called our first album Post Industrial Hometown Blues instead of Warsaw Blues or Birmingham Blues
Yeah.
is because everyone's that post industrial hometown that's been abandoned by industry and just left to rot. That's everywhere. That's across the world. That
From
is
Maggie Thatcher onwards with the coal miners, etc. Yeah.
everywhere, and
Yeah.
just every country has that town, and people, and every country is made up of 99.9% of people who understand what it's like to have to get up and go to work, and
There's a
they're
bit
the
of an
people.
irony, though, isn't there, in that Trump wants to reindustrialize America. So he wants to. How
Yeah.
does that sit with it? And how
Well,
does the
it'll
rise
be
of reform in the UK
it,
affect
it,
everything?
it won't affect it won't be like people having trades and communities built around
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
certain industries and stuff though. Well, it'll be
No.
reindustrialize it in like a big fucking like an Amazon warehouse or some or
Yeah.
AI
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
laser in steel beams or something. You know
It
what I mean?
read it read a lot to me like we want our slave labor back on home turf
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
instead of we want to reindustrialize America. It read like and at the same time attacking workers' rights. I think it's
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
Oh, we've been exploiting other people's free labour when we should remember we've got free, cheap labour available at home, lads. You know?
Yeah,
That's
exactly,
not
man. It's the
that,
Jeff Bezos School of Excellence, man. It's just like everything wants the Amazon warehouse model, like, you know. And I think whatever new industry does happen, it'll be that sort of thing, and it
yeah.
won't be like, oh, in this state or in this city, we're going to invest in this industry, and we're going to build homes around the factory and stuff, and then people can live there. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah,
way it was in some ways, even though it was always difficult from from what I've heard, but
yeah.
yeah, it'll be a different thing, you know. You can't
But
trust
the
the way.
biggest challenge now is the rise of AI and the fact that so many people are going to lose their jobs
Yeah,
because AI is going to take over. And I read an
exactly.
interview with Musk who was saying that in the future, working will be optional because AI will do everything for you. So
Well, it
that,
won't be optional. Like you won't have an option to work.
but
It's
you
like
need money. So
yeah,
there must be,
exactly. That's what I mean. It'll
there'd
just
have
mean
to be a minimum basic wage for everybody in order to compensate for the
yeah,
money
but
they're going
they
to.
won't do that. I mean, you go to Asda. Yeah, I went to Asda earlier to get this veg I was shopping, and like they've got 15 tills,
Yeah,
but only two people on them.
yeah,
And then you've got two people seen to about 50 people
yeah.
at
And you're
all the
doing your
AI, at
own.
the AI fucking things.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
there's a lot of discussion about AI in the art world, and it like, oh, will it replace music? Will it replace movies? And it's like, it won't, because again, on the subconscious level, the one thing people want from their art is some sort of human connection. Whereas the actual real fear is that the AI will do all of the factory jobs. It'll do all of
Yeah.
the supermarket jobs, the shop jobs. You know what I mean? You see it every day that there's less and less people working in these places, and the ones that are left are doing way, way, way more work.
Maybe it's
And
good for the entertainment industry because if there's one part of society that could benefit from AI, it's the fact that people still need to go out and be entertained, watch live music. You can't use AI to do that. Well, you can,
Mm.
but
I
but
yeah,
feel
yeah.
like I feel like gigs on that, I mean, I know Gorillas did their best effort, but I don't think gigs will ever be replaced by AI. I'm only playing. I
yeah,
just
the
think
new Gorillaz album's amazing, but I
it's
don't know if
fucking
you've
banging.
heard it. It's incredible. Yeah,
People just want human. People always want that live human to
yeah,
human
yeah.
reaction.
The contact.
Yeah, I think that's such a big part of what
But that
drives
brings
people.
us full circle to how it affects people, how your music affects people. And the thing is that the one thing that's, that's great about this is the fact that if you can move people emotionally, then they'll come back and see you. And therefore, that's what you absolutely should be doing, right?
Yeah, that's definitely that's the method, man. Just
Yeah,
we always want to. It's always the albums, the live set. It's always crafted as a emotional
yeah.
journey through whatever we're doing. We trying to direct people in to feel in a certain way. And yeah, I think we've found a good craft for it, man. I think we're
That's
in.
cool. That's cool.
Yeah, we
Are there any, do you have any unusual hobbies that you've not told anybody about?
ooh,
I asked everybody.
Hobbies.
I had one guy who did extreme frisbee. Another guy was talking to Bobby Villan, and he said he does extreme Lego,
extreme Lego.
extreme
Extreme
Lego
Lego.
building. Yeah,
Oh, what's
What's that
that?
like? Look, doing what? Doing a Millennium Falcon on top of a skyscraper or something?
absolutely. Growing vegetables.
We've only just had we've only just had time to find to have like a day off or two. Do you know what I mean? We've only just
Yeah.
started to find time for. I mean, I grow a bit of vegetables. I've got some. I'm looking at
You've been
two
learning
fine
you've been
chili
learning the
plants.
penny whistle.
Been learning
Whoa.
the penny whistle. Yeah, yeah. And I got concertina the other day. I've been having a crack with that. But it's all still with the music, eh? I mean, I'm on the penny
Yeah.
whistle on the album. That doesn't really count as a hobby if I'm fucking
No.
listed penny whistler.
If you've
I
got
got,
to
I got,
play it live, it's not a hobby, is it? Well, it kind of
yeah.
is, but yeah.
Um, No, nothing, mate. I mean, yeah, we've not really had a lot of time off to
No,
sort of do anything
like
else. You know?
no, both
Yeah.
like taking photos, don't we? Like drawing and stuff.
Yeah.
You're a great
Um,
artist, to be fair. Oh yeah, fucking
nothing weird that I'm willing to divulge publicly.
the weird things that I haven't told anybody. I can't tell anybody. Oh, oh, horrible.
Well, on that
Um,
note, thanks so much for talking to me today. Good luck with the tour. Good
nah,
luck with
pleasure,
the
man.
festivals, and good luck with Oh Joy. Just to reiterate, oh Joy comes out on the 5th of June on So Recordings, and it's about 32 minutes long.
Lovely stuff.
Bang
Good
on.
EP that. Thank you, Nigel. Good interview, brother.
That's
Legend,
great.
Nigel, mate. Love that
Thanks
one.
so much for talking to me today. I've really enjoyed it. Thank
Thanks,
you.
mate.
Thank you,
Thanks to
man. You
Leeds.
too.
Thanks to Lad of the Moor for always backing us from very, very
Yeah.
early, mate.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Always,
it.
man.
That's a pleasure.
Appreciate
Nice
that,
one.
mate.
Geezer.
All right.
Take care.
Ta-ra.
You take care. Thank you.